So we're back out here at Cox Ferry Wildlife Preserve, Waccamaw Wildlife Preserve, and we are 3 days out from the big race day, and I am feeling so much better. So I'm glad I sought counsel. I'm glad I listened. My quads are now deflamed and still wouldn't do that squat day again, but man, if you just listen for a second, it's just so beautiful out here. Nice, cool, and crisp. I've got a 4-mile run today, and the goal is to run that below that max aerobic heart rate, so below 142 beats per minute, and feeling pretty good about it. Tomorrow I've got a 2-mile run, and then Friday is race day. And just to lay that out for you, I've got about 20 miles that I'll be responsible for. Got 4 miles at 3:45 p.m. on Friday, all on pavement. And then 3 hours later, I've got another 4 miles that's going to be mixed with some elevation gain and loss. At 12:30 a.m., as in just after midnight, I've got a 4-mile run again. That'll have its own challenges. And then at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning, I have a almost 8-mile run that's supposed to be the most difficult run of all the runs. So basically I've got 12 miles to warm up for a 7.7-ish mile run. So two variables, obviously, that'll be challenging in this is, one is it's all night, right? You're not just running a long distance, you're running several moderate distances over the course of a 30-hour span. For me, it won't be quite that much, but trying to figure out, how to stay awake, and then add to that the complexity of elevation gain and loss, because that's what's coming in just a few days. So we're trusting the process, and I want to share with you guys the thought I'm taking with me on the run. So this morning I'm reading in my Bible about a dad who really wants to believe that Jesus can heal his son, but has doubts. And the reason that I think he has doubts is because they've tried a whole bunch of stuff and nothing has worked for them. But Jesus confronts the man, and the man says, "If you can, will you heal my son?" And Jesus says, "If you can?" Jesus calls him out, right? Jesus says, "If you can." He says, all things are possible for the one who believes. And the dad says something that I'm hanging on to today. He said, "I do believe. Help me with my unbelief." Right? You ever felt like that? You ever felt like, man, I really want to believe, and I just wish, God could help me fill the gap. Like, I've got something going on in my life, or I've got the situation I'm facing, and I really want to believe that this can go well. But the challenge is, we've tried things that didn't work, right? You, me, we both have experienced things where it didn't go the way we planned. And that's tough. That's tough. But Jesus says all things are possible for the one who believes. So I'm going to take that with me today. And of course, I get to see my kids live this out as an example for me. My son gets in the truck this morning and he shows me a chapter book that he got at school. And as thrilled as he is, I said, "Hey, read me a couple pages." And he says, "I can't read." But I know he can, right? Because I know he's been doing nonsense words. He's been doing sight words, and he knows how to sound things out. He understands phonics. And so I say, why don't you just try, right? What I'm saying to him is, why don't you just trust the process, right? Sure enough, with his big sister sitting right next to him, he starts reading this book, and I just want him to read a page. Well, he reads 2 pages before we get to school, and I got to brag on him to his principal. But my son struggled to believe, right? And he just needed me there to help him with his unbelief. And I just encouraged him to trust the process. And so I'm taking that with me as I go into this big race this weekend, right? That I got my doubts. I haven't experienced this kind of elevation gain and loss. I've never run all night long on no sleep. It's a little scary, but I am going to trust the process as well. And where I struggled to believe, I'm asking God to help me with my unbelief, because I know all things are possible through him who believes. So that's the thought I'm taking with me. Y'all come with me. We got 4 miles easy on a beautiful trail. Can't wait to show you. Let's do it.
one thing that we didn't talk about was the fact that this is the first week in all my training where I didn't wear headphones. And I had my doubts. But as I've listened to the greats, one of the things that they continually encourage is do it. Run without the headphones. Just listen. And just maybe some of your best thoughts will hit you on the run. So one weekend, I'm acclimated. I'm liking it. I'm loving the sound of nature. And I'm actually able to keep my max aerobic heart rate lower because I don't have adrenaline pumping into my ears. So interesting, but I think I'm a changed man. What a run. 4 miles, a little over 4 miles. 9:17 pace. I actually did something in the last mile where I pushed the pace a little bit, but noticed that my heart rate did not change. I just lengthened my stride, pushed it, was breathing really good. I actually finished that last mile in like 8:30 on the last mile. So 3 days out, training is looking better. Quads were still a little twingy, which I expected, but just the fact that 3 miles in, I was able to push the pace a little bit. I'm thrilled about that. So things are looking up. Things are looking really good. Knowing I can keep the paces that we set. This 200-mile run is, we got it down to a science. Literally every mile tracked for how long it's going to take, what transition is going to look like, what are we going to eat, how are we going to fuel, where are we going to stay. We just don't have it figured out who's sitting where in the van yet, right? So still some unknowns, but overall really excited about the training and thankful for the thought that I got to take with me today to really trust the process, but also where I have doubts, where there are gaps, and what I think is possible and where I don't really believe. I'm just asking God to help me with my unbelief. And I think that the result is going to be a certain level of boldness going into this race where we're wise, but we really do give it our all, which means if I got more in me than the paces that I set, I will push it. And I know that that'll push the team. And this is a team that thrives on a push. So a bunch of these guys, the guys I grew up with, guys I went to college with. So can't wait to take you up into the Smoky Mountains with me. And until then, stay on a mission, stay fiercely determined. We'll see you soon.